How are you? Friday, August 13th, 2021, episode 272. Best hitters and pitchers of certain decades. I have a series going. Started with 1870 to 1879. Do you know who the best pitcher was and the best hitter during that decade? Best pitcher between 1870 and 1879 was Al Spalding, 252 wins, 2,886 innings, 248 strikeouts. Bud Galvin won 41 games during that decade. Best hitter? Jim O'Rourke, 730 hits, 362 RBI, 362 was his best batting average. Camp Hansen had a good decade, 691 hits, 326 RBI, 415 batting average was his highest. Then I did 1880. Where are you? 1880 to 1889. Who is the best hitter during that decade? Camp Hansen, 1,518 hits, 967 RBIs, 399 batting average was his best. Who else had a good decade? Roger Connor, 1,404 hits. King Kelly, 1,344 hits. And Dan Brothers, 1,343 hits. Those are the best hitters during that decade. Who was the best pitcher? Tim Keefe, 291 wins. Then you had Bud Galvin, 287 wins. Mickey Welsh, 285 win, and Old Hoss Radburn, 271 wins. Then I did the decade 1890 to 1899. Who was the best hitter? Ed Delante, 1,863 hits, 1,077 RBIs. Yes, 410 was his best batting average during that decade. Another guy, Hugh Duffy, 1,861 hits, 1,088 RBI, 440 was his highest batting average. The other guy who had a good decade was Billy Hamilton, 1,696 hits, 569 RBI, 403 was his best batting average. So that was an interesting decade. I covered a lot of players. Jesse Burkett had 1,798 hits, 643 RBI, and 410 batting average was his highest. Who was the best pitcher during the 1890s? Let's see. Who was the best pitcher during the 1890s? Kid Nichols, 296 wins, 3,997 innings, 1,484 strikeouts. Cy Young had 267 wins during that decade, 3,717 innings, 1,125 strikeouts. And the other guy who did well was Amos Rusi, 234 wins, 3,528 innings, 1,835 strikeouts. So that's what I've done so far. I've come to 1900 to 1909. Who was the best hitter or accumulated the most hits during that decade? You want to know? Let's see, I've got it here. Who had the most hits? I'm looking down the list. 1900 to 1909. Honus Wagner. 1,847 hits, 966 RBI, and his best batting average was .381. How about that? Honus Wagner. I'll check them off. Who else did pretty well? Looking down, 1900 to 1909. Who else did very well? Looking. Sam Crawford, 1,677 hits, 831 RBI, .335 was his best batting average. Nap Lajoie, 1,660 hits, 793 RBI, .426 was his high. Woo! All right, look at some other guys here. Willie Keeler, 1,782 hits, 416 RBI, .379 was his high. So who do you got? You got Wagner, then Keeler. Then you've got Sam Crawford and Nap Lajoie. Those were the dominant hitters. Some of the other guys who played well, Elmer Flick, 1,449 hits, 577 RBI, .367. Elmer Flick. Some guys got, how about Jake Beckley, 1,122 hits, 498 RBI, .341, his best. You got some guys, Jimmy Collins, 1,252 hits, 545 RBI, .332. Looking at some of the other guys here, Frank Chance, 1,053 hits, 513 RBI, .327 was his best. Oh, looking through the list here, I've got it all written down. Bobby Wallace, I didn't see that one. 1,504 hits, 670 RBI, .324. Fred Clark, 1,396 hits, 510 RBI, .351. Jesse Burkett, 1,052 hits, 309 on the RBIs, .376. Counting them off, George Davis, 1,073 hits, 504 RBI, .319. All right, let's see how we're doing here. Roger Bresnahan, 931 hits, 380 RBI, .350. These are all Hall of Famers. Joe Tinker, 998 hits, 457 RBI, .291. Oh, let's see, who else? Joe Kelly, 916 hits, 417 RBI, .316. All right, how about this guy? Evers. Gosh, what was his first name? It slips my mind. I want to give credit to these guys. Evers. All right. Evers. Pardon me here. Evers, baseball. Johnny Evers. Okay, my apologies to Johnny. How did he do? 901 hits. All right, looking down the list here. Covered a lot of the guys. How about this guy during the 1900 to 1909? Ty Cobb had 763 hits, 383 RBI, .383 was his high. his next decade from 1910 to 1919, look out. I think he just takes off. All right, I'll just go with some of these other guys. Ed Delonte, 313 hits, 31 RBI, 376. Hugh Duffy, finishing his career, 123 hits during the decade, 238 RBI, 304. Billy Hamilton, 273 hits, 85 RBI, 333. Let's see, Sam Thompson, 7 hits. I think he was just starting the decade, so not much there. Huey Jennings, 285 hits, 143 RBI, 272. Zach Wheat, 203 hits, 59 RBI, 304. Eddie Collins just getting started. 299 hits, 98 RBI, 347. Tris Speaker getting started, 197 hits, 87 RBI, 340. And Harry Hooper, 72 hits, 12 RBI, 282. I think I covered them all, yeah. I just made a list of the guys who played, Hall of Famers, who played from 1900 to 1909 and what they were. So who dominated that decade? Honus Wagner led the league. Then you got Willie Keeler, Sam Crawford, and Nap Lajoie. Those were the dominant guys. Now, as far as pitching, who was the dominant pitcher? 1900, 1909. Who do you think? Who got the most wins, most innings, most strikeouts? I've got the list here. I'll check them off. Who won the most games from 1900 to 1909? And he's in the Hall of Fame. Christy Mathewson, 236, 2,970 innings, 1,789 strikeouts. Who was second during that decade? A guy named Cy Young, 230 wins, 3,476 innings. That's more than Mathewson. 935 strikeouts. Okay. Who else played well? Joe McKinney, Hall of Fame, 218 wins, 3,075 innings, 994 strikeouts. All right, who's next? Jack Chesbro, 192 wins, 2,747 innings, 1,237 strikeouts. Eddie Plank, 186 wins, 2,326 innings, 1,342 strikeouts. Rube Waddell, 183 wins, 2,835 innings, 2,251 strikeouts. Who else won some games? Eddie Jose, 155 wins, 2,220 innings, 871 strikeouts. Mordecai Brown, 144 wins, 1,826 innings, 799 strikeouts. Ed Walsh, 110 wins, 1,640 innings, 901 strikeouts. Chief Bender, 102 wins, 1,547 innings, 935 strikeouts. How we doing? And then some of these other guys. How about this guy? Kid Nichols finishing his career. 65 wins, 1,071 innings, 397 strikeouts. And then there's a guy who just enters the decade, starts playing in the middle. Guy named Walter Johnson, 32 wins, 662 innings, 395 strikeouts. So he's just getting started. Rube Marquard, 5 wins, 178 innings, 111 strikeouts. So who was the... Oh, forgot this guy. Vic Willis, 188 wins, 3,319 innings, 1,304 strikeouts. So who dominated from 1900 to 1909 as far as wins? Christy Mathewson, 236, Cy Young, 230. Joe McKinney, 218. Vic Willis, 188. Jack Chesbrough, 192. Eddie Plank, 186. Eddie Jones, 155. Then you got some guys coming into the league. Walsh, Johnson. Okay, Jack Chesbrough, 192 wins. So what do you think of those lists? 1900, turn of the century. That's some dominant guys, hitting and pitching. All right, the next series will be 1910 to 1919. Who do you think dominates in hitting and pitching? Stay tuned. We'll cover it next. I'm out.